You might have heard that live shopping is exploding. And I have to tell you, I have been on Whatnot for a couple of weeks now, and I see why it is. Now, Whatnot is my sponsor, and they are the reason I got on the platform and checked it out. I'm glad they did. They made it easy for me. I'm going to make it easy for you. I love it. Whatnot is where you get great products without paying full price. It's that simple. I'm hooked on their live shows, too. You got to see them. They're so much fun. And I see why Whatnot has climbed to the top of the App Store. And listen, if you're selling online, or maybe you have a storefront and you're hoping people will find your listing or maybe walk in your store, Whatnot flips that, because on Whatnot, you go live and you sell directly to people in real time. And I may admit, although you didn't hear from me, I may have picked up a couple of power tools or so in the past couple of days. I'm just saying. Whatnot, it's the largest dedicated live shopping platform with beauty, collectibles, electronics, luxury, fashion, even cookies, and anyone can sell. In fact, people who sell on Whatnot sell 10 times as much as any other major marketplace. That's because you're not just listing products, you're building real connections with buyers. So whether you're shopping or you're selling, download the Whatnot app today and get free shipping on your first order. Just search WHATNOT, Whatnot, in the App Store and start scoring amazing deals. So I was whining to my wife the other day, said, I need new glasses. And she said, well, get some. I couldn't tighten them anymore. They were scratched. You know the thing, right? But I didn't want to go through the process because you have to make the appointment. You have to spend weeks to get them done. And you got to pay a fortune, right? That's real. But I did. I spent $500 on frames and glasses, and that was cheap. And then I ordered a pair from my sponsor, Zenni Optical, for $70. Zenni is an online eyewear shop, prescription glasses, sunglasses, blue light lenses, starting at under $30. You go to Zenni.com, you pick a frame, upload your prescription, and they ship it to your door. No appointment, no store, no upsell at the counter. And by the way, if you are saying, do I really need new glasses, or do I have to put up with one pair to do everything I need to do for the next 2 years? No, you can get what you want starting at under $30. And if you've never bought glasses online, don't worry about it. I haven't either. Zenni has a virtual try-on so you can see exactly how the frame looks before you commit to buying them, with no salesman looking at you saying, those look good, but these expensive ones would look better. No, you don't get that. I'm excited. I can't wait to get my Zenni glasses and tell you more about them. If your glasses are overdue for a refresh, now's the time. Go to Zenni.com/podcast and use the code podcast15 for 15% off your first order. The styles sell out, so don't sit on it. That's Zenni.com/podcast. Promo code podcast15. How are you? Come on in. Got room in the studio. Well, not a lot of room, but we got some room for you because you're a special kind of person. We're talking about morning routines today. Do you have a morning routine that you're in control of? Or is it something that you have just started and you just kind of do it? Or have you never thought about it at all and you just do something? Huh? You probably do. A lot of people do that. Well, when you take control of your morning routine, it is the best, most powerful part of your day. A lot of ways to do it. We'll talk about the favorite ways for most people. And the one I found the most effective that I copied from somebody else because I saw how effective it was. It's an iterative thing. That's coming up today. It is a daily boost from motivationtomove.com, the positive boost you need every single day. My name is Scott Smith, founder, chief motivating officer here at motivationtomove.com. Happy to have you here today. Don't forget to get my Perfect Week Planner. Go to perfectweekplanner.com. Yes, I know the website was broken for about a day. If you tried, go get it. It is so simple. And here's the promise of the Perfect Week Planner at perfectweekplanner.com. The promise is this. If you do it once, twice, 3 times, a lady, when you get to that third time, you hardly have to do it. Because the goal is this. The goal is they simplify it so much that you always know what you have planned. You always know your next day. You always know your next week. Months in advance, you know what you're going to be doing on a Friday or a Monday. That's the premise behind the Perfect Week Planner. So go get it. Don't waste your time with other stuff. Just go do it. Okay. By the way, if you're listening to the podcast today, I'm all over the place. I'm also did something kind of crazy this week. Go to my YouTube channel, youtube.com/Daily Boost Podcast. And I recorded in real time all 5 shows as I recorded them with some commentary in between. It's rough. It's raw. It's fun. It's good. You'll like it. Just go check it out. Let's talk about morning routine because mornings are powerful. I mean, I think one thing I'm always doing, sometimes subconsciously and certainly consciously, I am aware of how I start my day is how my day goes. And so I'm always doing whatever I can to refine my morning routine. It is a never-ending process. I'm never happy with it. And we change. Our goals change. What we want to do changes. And so from time to time, you have to update these things. I'm usually trying to match it up with not my circadian rhythm, but how my brain works. How it works from a chemical level. I like to line it up with that because it just works really, really well. So let's get into this a little bit. There's a lot going on these days on the internet about morning rituals and routines, but I think they need to do something for you. I think it's the number one reason we do it. It's not to get up and get more done. It's something for you. But I think in this fast-paced world, there are two groups of people when it comes to using morning routines. It's either the people that are into the personal stuff, could be meditation, things like that, or the people that are into the productivity thing. I think once you get through the craziness of your morning, you jump out of bed, you get the kids off to school, you go through that drive-through and you get two when you should have got one, that kind of thing. Man, you choose to be one of those two people. But what if there was a third, more satisfying group? And I think there is, and I think I'm that person. I'm kind of a combination of both, if I'm being really honest about it. Before I go on, I have to admit that I have not always been a morning person. In fact, I quit early jobs. I remember my job. I worked at a station called KREO in Santa Rosa, California, way back in 1983. So I was a young man back then. And I remember getting hired to do the morning show, not a small thing. We were the San Francisco market, not a small thing to be doing. And I was about 3 days into the job in the shower. I'll never forget, going, man, I hate this. What am I doing up in the morning? I can't do this. And I'd go to the station and I'd be, doing what I did in the morning there, but I'd step outside and the sun would be rising. And I love the mornings, but I hated getting up. Man, it was something I had to work on. I quit a few jobs because I just didn't like the morning show. Later in my career, I changed my mind. I said, okay, I got to do morning. So I would get up at 5 a.m. I'd be at my desk, boom, 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 pounding through my to-do list as fast as I possibly could. Get it done, right? I must get it done. That didn't work. That didn't work because I had the discipline to do it. But what happened was this. Over time, it became very evident that all I was doing was going to work. There was nothing for me in the morning. And even though I got my stuff done, it wasn't satisfying. So I had to change that. And I wandered for a little bit. And I started sleeping in and doing different things. And I'll do something else. I even spent some mornings meditating and reading. That's all I did. A few years, I'd go to the gym. I'd go to the gym at 6 a.m. I've always believed going to the gym the first thing in the morning. What they say, I get it out of the way. That's what everybody says, right? I don't know if that's a good excuse to do it. Because there's so many more reasons not to do it than to do it. Now, if you got to get in shape, if your number one priority, absolutely do that. But depending on what you're trying to accomplish, it may not be the best thing for you to do. It took me a long time to figure out that I was not great at the gym early in the morning because I was better at something else. I moved my gym workouts later in the day. It took a long time to figure that stuff out. But one day, I began to look at my life and I said, okay, so you're going to get up early. You know that. What are you going to do? Well, the question I asked myself was, what is the most important thing to do tomorrow morning that will allow me to have the freedom of purpose in my life, as Dan Sullivan would call it, the thing that will change everything? What is the most important thing I can do? In other words, kind of get it out of the way, right? Write a book, make a podcast, go to the gym if that's the case. If you want to lose weight and get in shape and that's your number one priority, then you get out of bed, you go to the gym. What is the most important thing to do in the morning that I do when I first get up in the morning? I didn't ask about my to-do list. I didn't ask about, getting more done. No, it was broader than that. Just what was the most important thing to do? So over time, that became writing a book, different kinds of projects, things like that. But then I realized I was now working again and it wasn't fun anymore. So I had to change it. So I got into a couple things. I began to realize I needed a reward. I needed a dopamine hit in the morning. And I wanted to work the way my brain worked. So when I'm sleeping, my brain is in delta waves. So when you're sleeping, your brain is, very just emanating delta waves, and it begins to change when you wake up. And that's where I began to make the difference here.
Adobe Firefly is the all-in-one creative studio with AI-powered image and video editing for today's creative process. Built for creators of every kind, Firefly helps you generate, edit, and experiment fast. Because the asks aren't getting smaller, the budgets aren't getting bigger, and the timelines, still tight. With all the best creative AI models in one place, Firefly brings your ideas to life. Unlock a better way to make with Adobe Firefly.
I realized my brain was going into what they call theta. And theta was the next version. This is kind of the connection between the conscious and the subconscious mind. It's when you're as close as you could possibly be to your subconscious mind, but it only lasts 15 to 20 minutes. It was in that area that you were very receptive to really getting great ideas and learning and feeling good about yourself. It's really a very grounded place. So I said, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to get up in the morning. The most important thing I can do in that time period was to ground myself with a big goal that I had this year, which is to read the Bible. A goal I had 2 years ago, didn't get it done. I said, this year it's going to happen. I need to put that in me in the first 5, 6, 10 minutes, 15 minutes of the day. I have some other reading I do right after that, a little bit more personal development. But end of the day, it's only about maybe 10 minutes, 15 max. It feels good. I said, okay, what do I do after that? Well, I'm still kind of in that area. Let's let the muse run, because your brain is still kind of in that dreamy state a little bit. Let's let it run a little bit. We absorbed some great information. Now let's do a journal. Never been a big journal. I had to reinvent it so I could do it myself. And what I ended up doing with that was I said, okay, great. Let's call it a daily awareness diary. Let's reflect, let's project, and let's have a conclusion. Let's do it the day after. So whatever happened yesterday, I reflected on today, projected what the day would be like, and do it again tomorrow morning. Boom. 5 minutes. After that, I feel really good. Then I use the power of my brain in the morning to go into organizational tasks. So I'll spend about 30 minutes looking at my day, organizing my day, and figuring all that out, because organization is very, very taxing when it comes to your brain. I'd do that first. Then I'd get up, take a shower, walk the dogs, all that kind of stuff. Come back after that, dive into my deep work of the day. Now, my schedule is different than yours, but that's how I start my morning when I get into my day. It's incredibly powerful. And I suggest that maybe you take a couple of tips out of that and maybe use it yourself. Why? It's been incredibly productive. I tell you what, I've come across dozens and dozens of morning do-gooders who are getting everything done except what they dream of doing. And when they realize that they're just not focused, they're not rewarding themselves, they're not giving themselves what they need to actually take the steps they need to take. They're just going through the pacing. They realize they're still caught up in the buzz of life, even though it's 5 o'clock in the morning. Let's take it, run with it, find your best thing. As what I always tell people is your schedule is going to be different than my schedule. Your brain waves are going to work in a different way at a different time. Your circadian rhythm is going to be different than mine. You may not be a great morning person. You may be better at nighttime. So take the same thing and do it at nighttime, but just work to your brain waves. But if you're the kind of person like I am and you do that, it's going to be incredibly powerful for you. And by about 10 or 11 o'clock in the morning, you're done with your day. And then you can do whatever you want to do. Okay, coming up tomorrow, questions before you begin. This is kind of cool. I got this idea from a Hollywood producer who actually pitched movies to movie people with money. And he had to be very sharp, and he had to really get their attention fast. And I began to apply this in stuff I do. We'll talk about it's Bill Pivonex stuff. Talk about that tomorrow. Hey, see you at Facebook. Go to dailyboostpodcast.com/Facebook. It will redirect you right to our private group. Come on over and say hi. I'd love to meet you. See you tomorrow.